Let me just make sure that this is, because the lights change and everything. So you wrote this script quite a while ago. Can you tell us about sort of what inspired it? First of all, what inspired it?
Yeah.
Hey, stranger, need a lift?
No thanks.
Come on, I thought we got over this already. I won't bite.
Yeah, but I might.
What'd you say?
No, that's all right. I was 19. 19 when I wrote it. This project was written and almost engineered to be filmable on a small scale. There's a lot of ambitious things in it. I mean, we have a band playing in a bar. We have some very ambitious locations up on cliff sides and historic movie theaters. So it's not like you're just hanging out with your friends in your basement putting something together. I mean, we really got out there and brought all of our resources together for this film. Looking back at the script, not even the first draft, but looking back at the story now as it is, it's kind of like a time capsule of just growth and understanding, maturity. The movie begins with him walking down the street into a situation, and it ends with him walking down the street out of the situation. So like the whole thing is just a metaphor for the road of life and journey and discovery. Things don't always work out like they do in the movies. It's not always a storybook ending. So I wanted to try to capture that in an interesting yet relatable way. And I knew that I wanted to begin it in a diner scene or some kind of public surrounding and have the guy get dumped in the first scene. I wanted him to just get his heart stepped on. So I was thinking, and I think I got it figured out.
Hang on a sec.
What's up?
I think we gotta talk seriously here for a minute.
Okay, what's going on?
I just think that maybe we should bring things to a halt before maybe they go somewhere they're not supposed to go.
Just broken into a million pieces and then try to understand why it happened throughout the course of the movie. A lot of times in a creative project, there's always a push-pull. So if you're the director, you're pulling with the producer, and if you're the writer, you're pulling with the director and the producer, and it's like now I just like eliminated everybody.
I knew it was involved. It's a lot more involved than I had thought, and I find myself now noticing how things work in movies. When I see a good shot, I'm like, oh, you know, that probably was really hard to get, or I wonder how many takes that one took. There's so much that goes into it, so everybody that's been involved has really given everything that they can, so I'm definitely impressed.
When it comes to working with actors, I like to work with people who I get along with personally.
My name is Stephen Bendler, and I play the role of Cliff.
I hadn't spoken with or worked with him in a couple of years, but like he was always in my mind for that character, and I knew, based on the actual friendship that we had, that we could fall into these roles and have it look, you know, authentic.
Out of the blue, he emailed me a few months ago asking if I was still interested in making this movie. I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. I told him I actually still had the original script, And yeah, we just took it from there. We had a meeting, we talked about it, and I said I still wanted to play the role. Yeah, here we are now. Him and I get along very well. We have a lot of common interests. So working with Pete is like a no-brainer. It's very relaxing, and I have a lot of fun working with him. So when he said, "Do you want to do it?" I jumped at the chance.
With some of the other cast members, Carly, we met her at an audition.
My name is Carly Ballister, and I play Veronica in Misery Loves Company.
She came in red and just blew everybody else away, so there was no question there who was going to be the girl.
I was a very small extra in a recent movie that was filmed in upstate New York in Kingston. Besides that, it was mostly musical theater and dance productions in college, so this is my first film.
Cliff, I would say, out of all of Brian's friends, is the most stable. He's very laid back, he's very cool, he's kind of go with the flow type of person.
You never were much of a singer.
Well, look what you left me to work with.
Sorry, your delusions of grandeur shadowed my integrity.
Hey man, we each choose our own paths.
Yeah. I'll be sure to remember that next time I see some yuppie scumbag born into money, living it up off of daddy.
Right.
He plays like the opposite for Brian, where Brian is trying to figure out what he wants to do and where he wants to be. And I think since Cliff is comfortable with himself, it's a nice balance.
Brian, this is my friend Veronica. Veronica, this is Brian.
I was excited because I've been in her position before, so a lot of the stuff that I was working with was a lot of method acting. I definitely felt what the character was feeling at some points in my life.
Thanks.
So, you want to get going? We still have to walk back, and I don't know if you have anything planned for later, if you're meeting up with Brad or anything.
Don't worry about such things. I don't.
Why not?
Can we not talk about that? I've had such a nice day. I don't want to ruin it now with that.
It's your world, V. Directing is very difficult and acting is very difficult. And anyone who thinks it's easy is probably doing it wrong. Doing both of them together is a very big challenge, and if there's one thing I learned on this project, it's next time, Steven is going to be the lead actor.
I like working with Pete, and I find that with a lot of the directors that I've worked with, some of them, not all of them, but some of them don't really have a grasp on where they want to go with the particular story, whereas working with Pete, he already knows what he wants. He already sees it 10 blocks ahead, and that's a rare quality. He really thinks things out logically to a point of what's possible, what's not possible, as far just logistics to just plot points in the story. He really maps things out well.
He's just like all on all the time, and I knew he was passionate about filmmaking, so actually getting to see him in it and doing it has been great.
Yes, he worked harder than I could have imagined him doing with everybody. He put in 200% with everyone's character, everyone's questions, everyone's concerned. He definitely addressed everybody if they had anything on their mind. And from the beginning, it was very clear what he was looking for and what he wanted, which helped.
Trying to pay attention to all the details and answer all the questions while remaining in character, that's the one saving grace, is that the character is supposed to be miserable. So it was almost like method acting at some points.
About 5 more people would have been great, so I knew it would be hands-on for everyone.
Making a movie is a very patient process. I'm not a very patient person by nature, but I find that when I'm in an artistic endeavor, that I tend to be a little more patient, because you really get to see the art that goes into it. I mean, I've never worked on a big budget Hollywood movie, but there's so many people that contribute to the end product. Whereas, if you're working on an independent film, you really get a grasp of how much work goes into it.
On an indie film set, there's never enough money, there's never enough time, there's never enough anything So the challenge has been to just try to walk that line while accommodating everyone involved and still meeting your goal.
You know, we all kind of were hanging by a thread at different points of the production. This doesn't look like me.
All right, now turn around and walk out of the room.
No, it doesn't.
We gotta get this shot too.
That doesn't look like me. She's 6 feet tall, and that's someone else's whole face.
It's not to scale.
It got complicated, but we were able to pull through, picked each other's brains for ideas, whether they worked or they didn't. And that's easier to do than if you have a huge, large cast and you know no one gets to really put their input in. Everything's pretty set. So it was kind of cool to be able to put in your own ideas and your own attitude and things.
And then also the support for an indie film was, I thought there would be less challenge in that regard. It was really hard. Sometimes we hit a lot of roadblocks, not just with equipment, but even support from other people sometimes. So that was kind of an interesting look into all the things that can kind of get in your way, and you really have to push hard when you're making a project on your own.
I think everything builds on everything, especially in a creative field. Life experience does influence creativity, and almost always in a positive way. Even if it's negative, it's positive because it brings it somewhere it wouldn't have gone otherwise.
That can get pretty frustrating when you're dealing with some conditions that we did, but we made it, so it all worked out.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a lot on my mind.
So that's it then? Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Truth.